On this episode of the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino, we recap some of the things we saw and heard at the Crimson Combine. Then we have a long discussion about the Nico Iamaleava situation at Tennessee. And of course, we give you our winners and losers of the weekend. Please download and subscribe to the podcast, rate it 5 stars, and write us a good review. Follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Just search Oklahoma Breakdown on any of those, and you'll find us. All right. Our man Michael Hosty will kick this thing off. It's time for the Oklahoma Breakdown. It's a beautiful Sunday, April 13th, and you're listening to the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind is Oklahoma City's premier casino experience, and there's so many reasons why Riverwind is consistently voted OKC's #1 casino, but it all starts with their amazing variety of gaming thrills and excitement. Riverwind's beautiful, award-winning environment plays host to more than 2,800 of the latest electronic games with a huge selection of table games, including blackjack match roulette, and Teddy's favorite, craps. No matter what your game, Riverwind has it in spades and hearts. And to learn more about their gaming promotions and entertainment options, all you got to do is visit riverwind.com. Riverwind Casino, good times, great rewards, and we have a lot of dadding to do today,
Mm-hmm.
which includes watching Rory and Bryson go at it in the final group of the Masters. So we're knocking this out early.
Yeah, that's a very important part of being a dad, right? Is you have to teach kids to sit there on Sunday afternoon and watch the Masters.
It's very important. With that, we are shaping America's youth by sitting and watching. We've got some baseball going on. We've got some soccer going on. So we're in full dad mode today. So we people want to hear what we have to say about the inaugural Crimson Combine. Anyways, that's what they're
Let's
here
do
for,
it.
Ted.
Let's do it. Let's knock it out.
What'd you think?
I thought it was. I I wish we would have just known that that's what it was going to be all along.
Yeah,
You know,
because they ended up doing kind of
practice.
a practice.
Yeah. Which, I understand that. I think I don't know. I think they kind of had to hit a moving target themselves a little bit. So I can understand, not really knowing exactly what it was they were going to do, but I thought what they ended up doing was pretty good. And, got to see the players out there going through some drills and stuff, going at it a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't call it a full on full go practice, but you got to see some guys move around out there, got to see some playmakers. Most importantly, everyone wanted to see Mateer throw the football, right?
And they got to see that, especially towards the end with the 7-on-7. And they did team. That was not on the schedule we were given. So I just when it was initially announced that they were not going to have the traditional spring game, and they came out with the Crimson Combine name, and we all were like, "What does that mean?" And it doesn't seem like there was much of a plan when they decided not to do a spring game. If they would have marketed it this way the entire time, there would have been a lot more people there because they just had kind of like a shortened spring practice.
Yeah. And here's one of the things. I If you're going to put pads on and go out there, it counts as a practice.
No doubt.
So I imagine, originally there was probably just going to be a handful of drills, and Venables is like, man, if we're going to burn a practice on this thing, let's get some work out of it. And I thought it ended up being, just fine.
It's with the turnout from the fan base. I would say it's hard to call it a success. We just have to call it how we see it.
Right.
If they want to do something in the spring, it seems like there are bits and pieces that I think fans were very interested in. Like the end, the 7-on-7, the 1-on-1 O line, D line, then, moving the ball team. Like I think fans are really interested in that. Some of the other stuff, I don't know, but if they're just going to have it be a practice, like just do a full practice. If you're going
That's
to
it.
use a practice, just
Yeah.
do a full practice, right?
I don't, I think people, I mean, you can even if you don't want to be in pads on that practice, if you were to open it up, I still think it would be enjoyable to fans to see. Yeah, you'll see a heck of a lot more of your starters in a practice than you will in a spring game. Way more. You'll see Mateer throw way more balls. You'll see your starting receivers and running backs and starting defensive players a lot more in action. Typically in a spring game, I mean, if you've got veteran starters that are 2, 3 year starters, they're going to play a series and take the helmet off and walk around on the sideline. So, I mean, the most bang for your buck would probably actually be if they just opened a practice up.
That's a great point. I
Which is what Kenny Dillingham has done down at Arizona State.
right.
To come out here and rag on our guys, man. We want them under some pressure.
They need to feel it. And that's, I've said that a lot about spring games. It is the closest thing you can get to simulating game day. There are no preseason games in college football, at least not yet. So
Right. And
I'm
you're
not
not
going to
hiding
say,
anything. I mean,
I,
come on.
I wish more people would have been there, man. You looked up in the stands with what we're used to having for a spring game. You looked up into the stands, and I won't lie, it kind of made me sad. I was just like, oh man, this is a bummer. I felt
Yeah.
for the players, I felt for the fans, like the typical atmosphere, the energy you feel at an OU spring game it just was not there.
Yeah. Which, I I guess I understand like when you do, like this thing was constantly changing, so you don't know how to you can't market it as a practice if you don't know it's going to be practiced. I mean, I understand that there was some difficulty there, but I think we knew that there was going to be some of this with the first year not having a spring game, right? That there was going to be some uncertainty as to what exactly to do. If this is the what we expect moving forward to not be playing spring football games, I think they probably have a better idea of what to do next year. And I think you could build a whole day around it a little bit better if you have, this to go off of. But we'll see. I mean, maybe there's a chance that, with the house settlement and some, a little bit more certainty, maybe not all that much more certainty in college football, but I I think as some things become a little bit more clear for what the future of the sport is going to hold, then you may trend back to having spring games. I don't know.
I do think all the autograph signing stuff at the end was very popular among the people that came.
Mm-hmm.
So you certainly want to keep that piece, and if you can blend that with an actual spring practice, I think that's something that the fan base would be interested in. Now, are there going to be 70,000 people show up like 3 years ago? If you're not playing an actual simulated game, probably not. But you can certainly, if you make it clear what you are going to do, which was not the case here. I mean, we broadcasted it, Ted, and we didn't even know what they were going to do,
Right.
which made it very difficult on us. But it was, I think if you have a clear plan of what you're going to do, what the fans will see if they come, and you have that player fan interaction piece at the end, like I think that's something the fan base as a whole will be somewhat interested in. And I think it would have been very helpful if, as they were doing the drills, which we didn't know really what they were going to do and what they weren't, if we would have been able to explain what's going on
Yeah.
over the PA. Like we were talking about the team. It was going over the entire the speakers in the stadium. We did the interviews, which were great, but I think it would have been very helpful as drills were happening, as things were happening, if we were kind of explaining what was going on. I think that would have been helpful for a lot of fans.
How'd you feel about what you're saying going over the entire stadium, the PA?
I I didn't mind it. Like it's I did it bother you? The only weird part was that you could hear, like after you were saying it, a split second later, you could kind of hear the echo, even though we had our headphones on. But
I'm
I
like see, I'm typically I'm not a chatty Cathy, right? I'm not going around talking to everyone. So you like for me, ignorance is bliss. Whenever I'm on radio, I just pretend that it's like there's nobody listening ever. So whenever I hear it going on in the stadium, I'm like, oh dang it, man. There's actually people that are going to hear this.
So, was there a small part of you that was like, "Oh, I'm so glad not very many people showed up"?
Yeah, it would have been different if that place was packed. But no, for what it was, I thought it ended up being okay. The weather was great. I thought it was good to hear from Joe C. and Jib Nagy and Coach Venables going through every single player on defense was awesome. Toby, you can't ask him a general question about the defense.
When will T Row learn? He was basically just like, Coach,
What do you
you're
think of
calling
the
the
defense?
defense now. What do you think? What do you think of your group? And he literally went through all three levels and essentially every player on the roster in the answer. It was very
Especially like when
impressive.
they're on the field out in front of him, he's just picking out a new guy, and then you got so and so. That was great. I thought that was good.
I did think that the fan base got to see what Mateer is capable of.
Hmm.
The team stuff that they did at the end made some really nice throws, had a couple really nice balls throughout the day to Deion Burks, who Deion's looking good, man.
Yeah.
He's looking like the guy we thought he would be last year. Now, of course, just has to stay healthy, but he's looking as quick and as explosive as I've seen him look since he's been in Norman. But it was good to see the fans get a glimpse of what Mateer is, because you can just see it. The guy can absolutely rip it. You got to see him use his legs a little bit, and maybe the most important thing about Mateer, I think he's bringing the black cleats back.
Yeah.
Every time I've been out to practice, he wore them at the Crimson Combine. Is he a black cleats guy? Is that what is he making that cool again? I think he's trying.
I guess so. I don't know. I, that's something interesting to watch. I
These are the things I observe.
the
Everyone
black
else is
cleats,
watching routes, and I'm like, look at those black cleats. That's awesome.
the black cleat. I think it's not necessary that black cleats look a lot better. I just think that it's like a change, just that there's a little bit of a change makes it stand out and kind of looks cool. But, if everyone goes to black cleats for a season, then, after a season, it's like, ooh, they're going back to the white cleats. That's sweet. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but maybe that will be a trend.
Is there anything from what we saw, what we heard at the Crimson Combine that really kind of caught your attention?
Well, the quote I read from Brent Venables after the Crimson Combine caught my eye that they expect to have Giovanni Gibson back for the season for in the fall. I mean, that's a big development, adding some little bit of clarity as to, he had the surgery, they didn't really know, I think, before they were able to go have the surgery and go in and see what all damage was done as to know what the timeline was. But the fact that they're saying they're optimistic and feeling like there's a chance they'll have him back for the start of the season, that's a very positive development
No
because
doubt about it.
we need him. Like Burks looks great, and I'm happy that it looks great, but he's a Ferrari. All right, things break pretty quickly. You get high performance, but it not the F-150 truck. So the more guys that we have in the wide receiver room that are up, available, ready to go, we got to be ready because there's just, and it's not even just receivers. It's you're gonna have some guys go down, miss some time, whether it's small things or big things. But if you could start the season full strength, so to speak, that would be huge.
They don't need him back for the opener.
No.
They may not even need him back for week 2. Like, would it be ideal for him to be ready to go against Michigan? Of course. But with what it was looking like initially, as long as you can have him back for SEC play.
I'd rather have him for SEC play than to have him at, hopefully 100% for Michigan, right? Like
Right.
I'd rather wait, not have any let him, depending like does the start having by the start of the season, does that mean they get him for 2 weeks in training camp at full speed to start? Like, that's different than week one is your first week of practice, right? You need some acclimation time at full speed in full pads to show that you're really ready to go. So yeah, but I totally agree. I'd rather have him for the stretch run SEC play than rush it for Michigan.
Hitting the highway, remember to stop at Love's Travel Stops. You can't miss the heart of the highway. And with the Love's app, you can also save big. How big? 10 or 15 cents big. Save 10 cents per gallon on gas and 15 cents per gallon on auto diesel. Save with the Love's app today and be welcomed by clean places and friendly faces. Certain conditions may apply. See loves.com for details.
You listen to this podcast to get insight from the guys who played the game. Why don't you take that same approach when it comes to buying your beef? When you order from Didier Ranch, you are getting your beef directly from the people who raise it. A rancher knows what it takes to have premium quality beef. Didier Ranch has done it for over 100 years right here in Oklahoma. From delicious 21-day dry-aged ribeyes to savory steak burgers, there is no better place to get your beef. Get your beef from the guys who've done it and use code Oklahoma15 for 15% off on DidierRanch.com. Didier Ranch, tradition tastes better.
And we are brought to you by Simple Modern, an Oklahoma-owned company and the official drinkware partner of the OU Sooners. Spring is here, which means busy weekends filled with baseball, soccer, and outdoor fun. Plus, Mother's Day is right around the corner. The new Getaway bag is perfect for moms this spring. Its durable rubber sides can handle muddy cleats and gear, and you can easily rinse it clean. And it works just as great for a road trip car tote or as a beach bag for summer travel. It's as versatile as all the amazing women in your life. Plus, with 10% of all Simple Modern profits going to charity, many right here in Oklahoma, you're also helping Oklahomans everywhere. Simple Modern, good everywhere. I thought some of the stuff that Ben Arbuckle told us was very interesting. I liked that he said, hey, the offensive line has been consistent and they're getting better.
Yeah.
That is not what we were hearing about that group this time a year ago. So that was a very positive thing. And he's got a ton of energy. He's a super positive guy. But I think that, if they had a lot of work to do, I think he would have mentioned that. But I thought it was really interesting. You asked him, okay, who are some guys that have really stood out to you? And the first guy he mentioned was Will Huggins.
Yeah.
Said he's really come along. I thought
week.
that was very positive. And then the other guy he mentioned was Elijah Thomas. We've been talking about him basically all spring now.
He's from when I saw him, I don't know if I saw it was either their second practice of the spring. He looked good, but you could tell he was a freshman, right? Whenever you saw him, he'd make a good play here or there, but the rest of the time looked like he's trying to get up to speed. Like how he looks right now, he has made some big strides in a short amount of time.
Got to talk to Nagy. My biggest takeaway from what Jim Nagy had to say to us is he's got awareness. He was wearing one of his Super Bowl rings. Smart guy. What do you say? Big recruiting day?
Reluctantly wearing a Super Bowl ring. I don't know that he likes throwing it on, but it's a conversation piece.
It certainly was the first thing you and I noticed.
I love that there was a decision to be made on which one to wear, right? And he went understated, which is good.
He went with the one that I think he could get in his pocket. It sounds like the ones he has for the Patriots are maybe too large to even, like if he had his phone in his pocket, he couldn't even get it out.
Hey, the Super Bowl, like the championship ring, Super Bowl ring, evolution has been crazy. It has to be bigger and louder than the last year's every single year. So they've gotten out of control.
Someone hit Schmitty with a punt in the punt catching thing.
Yeah. Careful whoever hit that thing. He's going to go back and check the film.
There's no doubt. There's absolutely no doubt.
He played it off pretty good out there in front of the crowd, but
hit him right in the head. Could not have felt good at all.
No.
One thing that we were missing, when OU has an actual spring game, there's always the, oh my gosh, this guy had a great spring game, let's overreact to it guy. I think just in the drills that they did, Jacob Schneider's that guy.
Caught
80
some
was
nice
showing
balls.
up, man.
Yep, caught some nice balls. And
Pride of Bixby making plays.
I will say that one of the guys that's been lost in the mix a little bit has been Jacob Jordan. Like he's had a really good what we saw last year on the field has carried over into the spring. He's looked the exact same. He finds himself open all the time, catches everything thrown his way, can turn up field, make the first guy miss and go get first downs for you. So, but yeah, you're right. Snyder looked good. I don't know. I enjoyed, maybe it was because they were right in front of us, but I enjoyed watching the offensive line go through their drills. And, that group is, just physically looks a lot better than we did a year ago. And we got options. There's more bodies to work with. Like, I was talking with Bimbo before everything got going, and we were just talking about last year he had to start a different group. I think 8 different starting groups that he had to put together. We always talk about, putting the best 5 out there. He didn't get to do it. It was like he only got to put his only 5 out there all season last year. So the point is there's pieces. I think there's good competition going on at pretty much all the spots, right? You got some type of legitimate competition going on inside, outside at tackle. So I think it's been a much more productive spring. Last year, because of all the injuries on offensive line, they could barely practice, and it stunted the entire football team's development because of how beat up they were on the O-line in spring.
They're just feeling a lot better about the group as a whole.
Yep.
I mean, we heard what Arbuckle told us, and it makes me just feel better about the entire football team because I do believe the offensive line is going to be what determines the ceiling of this team. If they can get really good offensive line play, I think Mateer's going to go out there and make plays. We'll see what pieces they add in the portal that opens on Wednesday. You're probably looking at, with the Gibson situation, even though they're optimistic, you're probably still taking a look at some wide receivers, seeing who gets in. You're probably still, hey, if you can get a difference maker at running back, you're going to try to find that guy. Tight end, I think, is still something that needs to be addressed. Defensively, I think they feel pretty good about everything. Maybe you add a corner with some of these guys' injury history.
Yeah. We've got some really good players at corner, but there's a lot of uncertainty health-wise. Like, in a perfect world, if you could guarantee all of those guys would be 100% healthy, you may feel pretty good about it. But as we know, that is no guarantee. I was just thinking, I don't know about you, and this isn't to say that they're where they need to be and they can't be better, and we may not help the position through the transfer portal, but I would think for me, offensive line, where they are now from what I was thinking going into spring, I think they're better than I thought. Defensive line.
Can I add something in the O-line real quick? I do think, and I think this would be the best thing for the group as a whole. They need to bring someone in that will push Troy Everett at the center position.
Yep.
Because Troy is solid. He's solid. But is he, I don't know if he's even a draftable player. If you can bring someone in that can either take that job or push Troy to where he becomes a better player, which I think something that would be good for Troy. I think that's the situation. I think you want to create some more competition at the center position. Mm-hmm. And I expect them to target that because like right now, Troy he's solid. He's a great leader, like all those things. But if you want to go and compete in the SEC, especially with the schedule, man, like you have to have really good O-line play.
Yeah.
And I think that whether they upgrade at that position or they bring someone in that pushes Troy to improve the way that he needs to improve, I think you can have almost the best of both worlds right there.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think that's something that they're going to look at.
I totally agree. But offensive line, I would say, has progressed, trending better than I thought. And this is looking at it before spring, like we didn't know what the freshmen were going to look like. We had heard good things, but you never know. I think D-line, like the interior guys, is better than like Stone has made some really good development. You know what you're going to get out of Dominic Williams. Obviously, Jaden Jackson is going to be back in time. But guys like Marcus Strong has come around and had a really good spring and shown that he's going to add to the rotation. Grayson Holton has had a good spring. So, I mean, and you heard Venables you talk about, why am I drawing a blank? The freshman that they added has been able to come in.
Wilson.
Trent Wilson, he's been able to come in and do some things. Like, is he ready to be in the rotation? Maybe not, but he's progressing.
Still have not seen that young man smile.
Love it.
All business with that young fella.
I like an angry guy. And assuming you get Giovanni Gibson back in the fall, I would say with what he looked like, how Burks has fit in, Elijah Thomas and Manny Choice as the freshman coming in, I would say in Satania, like with not knowing what we were going to get out of the transfer portal guys or the freshmen, I would say that receiver has trended better than I thought it was going to be as well. And then this is a spot that I think they're definitely going to try and address in the transfer portal. But I would even say tight end is better than I thought it was going to be. It's not great. It's not where it needs to be. There's still a lot of room for development there. But, you know, considering like the heat that was around the position, you know, coming out of the season, and with the transfer portal guys being from like some smaller unknown schools and some unknown quantities there, I think the position is better now than I thought it was going to be as we went into spring. Still can get way better, but, you know, I just had that on the list.
I know a lot of OU fans don't want to hear this, but this team could really use Bauer Sharp.
I know.
I don't think people realize. I'm just telling you right now, OU fans. He's going to be very productive at LSU, and he's going to get drafted in the NFL draft. I'm just warning you. I'm just telling you right now.
Because of all of the dysfunction on offense, he ended up shouldering it's almost like everything became his fault for whatever reason. And, you know, we talked about, they put him in some situations that weren't best suited for him. I'm with you. He would be in a much better position right now on this offense than what he was a year ago, for sure.
He would make this football team better. That's enough Bauer Sharp talk. Yep. Anything else? Crimson Combine, I would say, fair to say, you got to figure something else out, right?
Yep.
Or at least how you're going to market what you're going to do.
Yep. Which, you know, I'll extend a pass this year because of how everything kind of changed during the spring. Next year, you got to have a plan before you start marketing it and give people some certainty as they're coming in.
The solution is easy. Do a joint practice with Oklahoma State.
As long as the NCAA passes that legislation, or even if they don't, right? Just go do it anyway.
Just do it. What are they going to do? I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to punish you. They have no power. They're irrelevant.
Yeah, you just do the practice. Don't really necessarily ask if you can do it. Just do it. And they'll have like a 5 or 6 year investigation, and, you know, that's just how the NCAA works.
Let me explain something. And this is something that I talked to Hugh Jackson, of all people, about there's a reason NFL teams like doing joint practices. It's because of having, instead of having 22 players that can get hurt on one play on the field, you only have 11. It's simply
50%
a
of
math
the
equation at that point.
lower your lower your guys that are out there in the firing line. Yeah, I like it.
Just do a full spring practice. Don't go live. Just do thud with Oklahoma State, and thousands and thousands and thousands of people will show up. It's not that hard, man. And you're literally exposing less of your players to injury.
210 guys out there at practice doing the same drills as opposed to 105. That's right.
Be fun. Everyone would love it. Easy solution. And then you do autographs after. There you go. It'll
be good.
Would be great. All right. Oh boy. Biggest story in sports other than the Masters? Right, Nico?
Yeah. I mean, I'm maybe not even an other than.
Massive story coming out of Knoxville. I've labeled this the Nico Iamaleava drama. I just realized Nico Iamaleava saga probably would have been better, but it's okay. It's okay. Ted, we've got our first big college football holdout, and oh boy, did this. I don't think this turned out the way that Nico and his camp thought it would. My goodness, what a story coming out of Knoxville.
Yeah.
Should I explain it real quick? There's some people that may not know what's going on. Maybe they live under a rock, or they've only been watching the Masters. That's it. They've looked at nothing else.
They only get their college football news here.
Well, there you go. Okay, so Thursday on Three's Pete Nakos reported that Tennessee and Nico were in contract negotiations. Also, you saw a report from Matt Zenitz that Nico went to a dinner at our guy Joey Halsley's house that night and was acting normal, even as all this news was breaking. Nico's dad and Nico's manager even came out on Twitter that day, and they called Pete Nakos a liar. They called him worse than that also. And then on Friday, Nico doesn't show up for practice. Tennessee has their spring game Saturday. Josh Heupel afterward, or even before that happens, it comes out Tennessee was moving on from Nico Iamaleava, and Nico would enter the transfer portal. Now, the reporting was that, hey, he was going to make somewhere like in the $2.5 million range this year, and his camp wanted that up to the $4 million range. Oops.
Yeah. First of all, let me say that the best move in all of this, and I imagine hopefully some college football teams learned from this. The best thing that happened was Tennessee, whenever they came asking for money, they put it out there to be reported, right? And whenever everyone knew about it, that's why they were mad and calling people liars, because the timing, I'm not even talking about the timing putting Tennessee's back against the wall right before the transfer portal window opens. I'm talking about the timing being, you can't find a single fan in college football that is happy with NIL and transfer portal. Everyone hates it. Everyone is sick of it. So whenever all that news comes out, you immediately become the good guy in the situation when you're Tennessee, right?
Feels that way. It feels like, now there are some people, hey, it is, with the way that the system is set up, it is okay for Nico to ask for more money. There's no harm in asking. He hasn't earned more money. He has not earned a raise by the way that he has played, but I don't think asking for more money was the mistake. The mistake was how his camp handled the entire situation. This should have never become public. And it sounds like this is something they were trying to get done in December before that portal window opened. And a little birdie told us he may have tried to pull something before the Alabama game last season.
Yeah, it sounds like this has kind of been an ongoing thing, right? Like, this isn't the first time that he's asked for more money, since he signed his NIL deal originally. And it sounds like their go-to is to use the calendar or the current situation as a heavy piece of their leverage, right? Or else whenever you're in the 11th hour is not how people really like to handle things.
Listen, them asking for money, I really have no problem with it. But there's a way to do business and there's a way not to do business. And Nico Iamaleava and his dad and whoever else has been involved in these decisions, they just went about it the wrong way.
Well, this is why you don't have your parents that don't have experience in this world negotiate and represent you, because any big time agent, legitimate agent, knows that like people talk, and you don't go and try and strong arm people and leverage people in the 11th hour, because like I said, word gets out. People don't want to deal with people that are going to do that. I don't know where he ends up, and maybe someone pays him his $4 million. I will be shocked if that happens. But you have to go to donors to get this money. And donors are going to say, why would I pay $4 million for a guy when it may be $5 million the day before the season starts or the day before our biggest game? I'm not going to commit money for that. No, I mean, I'm not. I'll commit money for someone who wants to be here and be a part of our story moving forward, not that's just looking for the next biggest payday and will leave at any given moment. I mean, that's where the inexperience of his representation just, I think, buried him on this deal. No one's going to want to touch this deal right now, right?
No. And I have no idea where he's going to land. He's a talented guy. He's an extremely talented guy. And let's be real, he's underachieved with how talented he is up to this point in his career. But, maybe someone will get desperate. I don't think he's going to get anywhere near what he was looking for from Tennessee.
In December or whenever, there may have been, 10 other fish swimming around out there. And when there's a lot of people interested, the number remains high. But after all of this mess, the amount of people that are in the bidding pool has dramatically dropped off. They found their guy. The timing is a little bit different. There may be people that are desperate, but, he's also become desperate at this point. All right. So that number is going to drop down. The supply and demand formula has changed. Schwab Meat has been smoking the highest quality meats, hot dogs, and sausages in OKC since 1912. Go to schwabmeat.com to order any of Schwab's outstanding products and use promo code OKBreakdown for free shipping on orders over $75. Schwab dogs are iconic. I like to keep it simple. Just a bun, dog, mustard, ketchup. Also, the jalapeno cheddar smoked sausage is ridiculous. schwabmeat.com, code OKBreakdown for free shipping on orders over $75. Schwab Meat, the official hot dog of game days. And head to the garage for hand smashed patties, butter toasted buns, and ice cold beer. It's the perfect spot to watch any big game And with all the garage locations being open at 10 p.m. or later every night, it's the go-to late night spot. Visit eatatthegarage.com to find a location near you and order online from the garage in your neighborhood. Insurica has launched a new digital agency introducing Insurica Direct. Whether you're in Oklahoma or anywhere across the U.S., they've got you covered. From small business insurance and health insurance for your employees to insurance for individuals like home, auto, and even Medicare supplements. Insurica Direct's got it all. Start your journey today at insuricadirect.com. Remember, at Insurica, we specialize in you.
I know it's probably highly unlikely, but come on, man. It would be pretty hilarious if he entered the portal and just no one offered him. Like if college football as a whole just colluded against him.
Yeah, or I mean, I guess it could end up looking like that, but I mean, I think everyone's got an honest leg to stand on. Like, you know what? With the negative media attention that's surrounding this deal, like, we don't want to become the villain in college football right now. Like, yeah, he could give us an opportunity to win some extra games, which, I mean, that's the thing is, you mentioned it, he has underachieved up to this point. That doesn't mean that he's got a bunch of great physical traits and he's got a super high ceiling, but, you know, it hasn't shown up yet. I mean, his numbers last year, Tennessee had a really good defense and a really good running game. He was not the focal point of their offense at all.
As the kids say, he was mid.
Mid, that's right.
I mean, you look at the stats, 63%, 2,600 yards. He threw for 19 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Of those 19 touchdowns, 11 of them came against Chattanooga, UTEP, and Vandy.
Yep.
In SEC play, he threw 9 touchdowns. 4 of them were against Vandy.
Yep. He was 10th in the SEC in passing.
He does not deserve a raise. And I don't know how you don't have more awareness if you're Nico Iamaleava and you're his family.
Inexperience. They
It's
just don't know. They don't know what they're doing.
and one of the things is, I'm seeing a lot of people, blame his dad, blame family, friends, but ultimately, Nico's an adult. The blame goes on him. We are past the point where we can't say, hey, this college football player deserves criticism. Like, those days are over, man. Right. This guy's trying to squeeze every dollar out of Tennessee and ask him for $4 million when he has not played particularly well.
Yep.
If it was his dad and his family and whoever else's idea and it wasn't his idea and he's just going along with what they say, well, guess what? He needs to sack up and say, Dad, chill, we're not doing this.
His best move would, like, the next headline that comes out of this story should be Nico hires X agency for representation. That would be the best headline for him because it puts the onus somewhere else and says that he's standing alone and feels like he was led into a bad situation. That would help him tremendously.
This is something that you learn once you get to the National Football League, and it may not feel this way for some of these college players. Your agent works for you. You do not work for them. You make the decisions. Now, they advise you. They try to use their expertise, their experience to guide you in the best way possible. But you are their boss. They work for you. And that's the problem with having your dad as your agent.
Yeah.
Is that dynamic is not there because he's your dad.
Yep.
And that's where it's Nico, and maybe this was all Nico's idea. Maybe he was the mastermind behind all this. I don't know. Right. But in this situation, you have to be able to tell your agent, even though it's your dad, to chill out. That you're not doing it this way. And as uncomfortable as that may be, like, it's something you have to do. Because in that capacity, your dad works for you. He's not your dad. He's your agent. And that is why, like you mentioned, Ted, typically not a good idea unless your dad is a certified agent.
I mean, I'm sure that there's examples of where that dynamic has worked out just fine for people.
No doubt.
But there's probably way more instances where it has not worked out fine for people. And here's the thing, like, you're right. He's your agent, he's not your dad. Like, that relationship matters, which goes back to the point. This situation right here is a great example as to why you have to have a GM in college football right now, because that relationship between player and coach is ruined in this deal, right? You need your player negotiating with the GM to where the coach, you can play the good cop, bad cop. You can be the coach and be like, man, I'm going to bat for you. I want to get you a raise. Like, we're having that discussion right now, and I'm telling you, I'm in your corner. We want you. I'm trying to get the money for you. Like, the coach is on your side in the deal, right? Instead of when the coach is a part of the negotiation, it affects the player-coach relationship. There's no way that it doesn't. It's why you have to be able to separate it out right now.
And that was probably the most significant thing I took away from our interview with Jim Nagy during the Crimson Combine.
Yeah.
I asked him about the Tennessee situation and how to avoid that at OU. And he said early that morning he'd fired off a text to the entire staff like, this can't happen here. And he talked about the importance of getting to know the players as people, but also, maybe more importantly, getting to know their families and what they're all about. He said, because if something like this is going to happen, usually there's red flags along the way.
I would say, if I'm a recruit in high school, I would learn from this situation about having people close to you as your representation, right? Like, if I'm a high school kid and my dad has been involved in the conversations with how much I'm going to get paid and everything, which I can understand at that age, but it better plant a little bit of a seed there that I think we need legitimate professional help and representation in this deal, because the university side of things are going to be looking at that as a huge potential red flag down the road.
I think Nico Iamaleava and the people helping him make these decisions cost him millions of dollars.
And maybe more than that.
Maybe tens of millions of dollars. Because you got to remember, and that's what this feels like, very short-sighted decision making to me. Josh Heupel is a great quarterbacks coach. He's developed a ton of quarterbacks and sent them to the NFL. The guy got Joe Milton drafted, okay? But now Nico's got to go to wherever he lands. He's got to go learn a new offense, get comfortable in that offense, learn all the new terminology. Hopefully, and is where he lands. Are they going to have playmakers like Tennessee has?
Well, how is the locker room going to accept that?
I can't imagine he's going to walk in and be Mr. Congeniality.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you've got to go convince an entire locker room that they can invest in you, right? As someone that's going to go to bat for them. That's not just there for the moment and looking to hit the portal. And he's not the first guy to do this, but it's playing out nationally like no other situation has. Like, he is going to be in 100% damage control mode wherever he ends up. And I don't know where that's going to be. I have a feeling that it's not going to be at any of the big players. That could be wrong. I mean, I someone brought it up whenever I was doing my radio show that North Carolina could be an interesting spot. Like they had money to throw around. Like they supposedly offered Mateer more money than Oklahoma did. And I think did they end up landing like the quarterback from Purdue? I think like they're still in the market for a guy. So like North Carolina may be a spot, but outside of that, I don't know that any of the big teams are going to take the hit that it's like when you bring him in, there's going to be a ton of questions and it's going to place a ton of heat on everyone involved. The coaching staff, the GM, athletic director, anyone who decides to marry themselves to that situation is putting a lot of undue pressure on all the parties involved.
I just think if this entire situation ends up being the difference of him being like the 10th pick of the draft versus the 20th pick of the draft, then this was a massive, massive mistake. Because that is millions and millions and millions of dollars. Like he has NFL talent. And now it's all got to come together. He's got to make better decisions when when it's fourth in the game, buddy, you can't run out of bounds. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch Arkansas, Tennessee from a year ago.
Hey, and you know this like I do. When people have if the feeling on Nico is he is an unbelievable locker room guy. I mean, he is all about the right things. This is the type of guy we love to have leading our program. Well, whenever that's what they're hearing, they view the film differently than if your bias of the guy is he's a bad locker room guy. All he's ever doing is leveraging people for money. Now all of a sudden you start to find reasons to not draft the guy instead of reasons to draft the guy. So, I mean, that's already something that he's going to have to, try and bounce back from. And I don't know. It's like, in a weird way, this could be one of the better things to happen to college football in a while, right?
Yeah, we'll see.
If you're a player and you've been thinking about leveraging the transfer portal situation, like the negative fallout that's coming to Nico from this deal probably makes you think twice about it a little bit.
Oh, there's no doubt. There are other guys that were going to try to do something similar in the next couple of days that are no longer going to try to do that because of this.
And I think that schools may have learned a lot by how Tennessee took it to the press early in the situation, because that's the only thing that really flipped this into their favor. They got it out there quick and got people on their side quick.
Here's a quote from Hype after their spring game. This program has been around for a long time. There are a lot of great coaches, a lot of great players who came before that laid the cornerstone pieces, the legacy, the tradition that is Tennessee football. It's going to be around a long time after I'm gone and after they're gone. Now, he also thanked Nico and what he did for the program, but he also added, there's no one that's bigger than the Power T. That includes me. And as I kept hearing these words come out of his mouth when I watched it, Ted, it's basically exactly what Bob Stoops used to tell us in team meetings, like almost word for word. It was as if he was channeling his head football coach from college. Like it was almost eerie how similar it was to some of the stuff Bob I'm sure told you guys, just like he told us.
Yeah, and it's the same message Coach Stoops had whenever he came in as interim coach whenever Lincoln left Southern Cal is, hey, this program is way bigger than one man. Always has been, always will be. That's right. I mean, and that's how you have to approach it. And I think it was smart of Hype. Like he very easily could have gone in front of a mic and said, "This is BS. This is not how you handle things." Like to ambush us at this time. Like, he could have said a bunch of things, but he thanked him for his time, says he's a good player, was happy to have him around and have coached him. He made them better. Like, he said all the right things.
Handled it very, very well. I think in this entire situation, I think Josh Heupel came out as the winner.
Mm-hmm.
I think the fan base, I think the vast majority of Tennessee's fan base is like, hell yeah, Heupel, that's what we do. No one's gonna ambush us.
Right. Yeah.
I think he handled it about as well as he could. The last thing I want to say about this entire situation, and we've talked about this before on here, but at some point, these college football players need to realize that there is a lot of value. It may not be something that shows up in your bank account, but there's a lot of value in having a place to call home once you're done playing. And Tennessee fans from the very beginning had Nico Iamaleava's back. That whole thing, the initial reporting, the $8 million deal, the Attorney General of Tennessee going to bat for him. That whole fan base rallied behind him. And then he tries to pull this. And now he's out. And now, instead of being a Tennessee legend that every time he comes back feels that love and being able to bring your family around and feel that love and have it feel like home, that's never happening. Over what?
Over what? Like, you can't, if you are a big time player, you cannot put a price on that. Like, how much money that is actually worth, you can't put a price tag on it. Like, I don't know how much money Jason White's made off the Air Comfort Solutions situation, but like, that's about the easiest paycheck you could ever have. And you don't, like, you get that by being an iconic player somewhere at a big school that is well known, that has a huge fan base, that is crazy about football and their stars and legends that have played there. There's statues all over campus, right? I don't know where he's going to end up, but it ain't going to be anywhere with a fan base like Tennessee has.
And now, not only is he not going to be a Tennessee legend, he's going to be a punchline for that fan base.
Yep.
And it's of his own making.
Unfortunately.
Let's finish up. Oop,
yeah.
What do you got?
I was just going to say, like, I hope that this is a big learning moment for the rest of college football players to see, like, how important it is to have a huge fan base on your side, and like what that value is. It's hard to quantify, but it's more important than the instant, however much money you're going to make. And it's maybe not true for every player, but for a lot of big time players, if you're in the right spot, it's worth way more money extended all the way through the rest of your life to have a home like that, for sure.
The PR nightmare, and now the uncertainty of where he's going to end up, what the system looks like, what the weapons around him are going to look like. There's no way this was worth it. There's no way. Irreparable damage to his reputation. Can you really put a price on it? Everyone making fun of you and your family.
You're definitely going to be able to put a price on it for him, because I doubt he's going to get what he was making already at Tennessee. I would say he's definitely not getting the $4 million. I could be wrong. Maybe someone ponies up that money. I could be wrong, but like, his is a situation where you probably will be able instantly to see that it's costing money.
Hire a real agent and hire whoever has helped DeChambeau become maybe the most popular player in golf. Go hire whatever PR firm has been helping him. Dude, go find that group.
Coming tomorrow, Nico tries to throw a ball into a trash can over his house every day until he gets it done on YouTube.
Coming tomorrow on Breaking 50, Nico Iamaleava with Bryson DeChambeau.
Nico and President Trump try to throw ball through tiny hoop.
It'll be. I don't have ill will for the young man, but just what a mistake. Now, hey, maybe he ends up making us all look like idiots. Maybe he goes somewhere, he balls out, and he's the first pick of the draft. He has the talent for that to happen. But you also have to remember, this just doesn't vanish once he goes somewhere else. This follows him. The weight of this follows him, and that affects you, whether he will realize it or not. The weight of this, like, it will hover over him like a black cloud.
I imagine that he has noticed over the past 24 or 48 hours.
I would assume you're correct. Let's finish up with our winners and losers of the weekend. But first, if you're as passionate about OU sports as we are, now's your chance to make a difference with One Oklahoma. As the official NIL partner of the University of Oklahoma, One Oklahoma plays a crucial role in keeping the Sooners competitive in the SEC. Your subscription goes beyond the revenue sharing cap, directly helping recruit and support the athletes who become Sooner legends. Plus, you'll get access to exclusive events, behind-the-scenes content, merch, giveaways, and more. Join the team and be the difference maker for your Sooners. Join today at oneoklahoma.com. And 3 things matter in banking: service, service, and service. And First Fidelity Bank's commitment to exceptional service is more than a promise. It's their foundation. FFB has been by your side for over a century, and they are honored to be a part of your journey. Banking isn't about where you've been, it's about where you are headed. Open an account at an award-winning bank today at ffb.com. At First Fidelity Bank, we go where you go. And go to opolisclothing.com and use promo code TED for 10% off our podcast merchandise and the best OU gear out there. That's opolisclothing.com and use promo code TED. Buttery soft and 10% off. And we are brought to you by Mando. The weather is warming up, and that makes the deodorant you choose to use very important. And we are Mando men. Mando's whole body deodorant is safe to use anywhere on your body and is aluminum free and dye free. The Cloverwood scent is great. So is the Pro Sport. But Ted, I'm starting to switch to the bourbon leather. I like it. It makes me feel good. Makes me smell manly. I love the 3-pack you can order that has one of each scent. You can got to pick which ones you want. And luckily, I have a discount code to help you get hooked on the best smelling, best performing whole body deodorant on the market. New customers get $5 off on a starter pack with our exclusive code OKBreakdown. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use code OKBreakdown at shopmando.com. That's shopmando.com, code OKBreakdown. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando. Shopmando.com, code OKBreakdown. As always, Ted, kicks off. Who do you have as your winner of the weekend?
OU baseball. Now, didn't I tell you that getting destroyed by that damn Dallas Baptist is a good omen? Like, anytime you need a reset, you play Dallas Baptist, you get beat, it just kind of, it resettles everything, and then you go play great baseball. Since then, we, in 2 games, have outscored Vanderbilt, who's top 25 ranked ahead of us, has had a really solid year. We've outscored them 23-4 in 2 games, including a run rule 14-0 yesterday in front of the biggest crowd ever to watch a baseball game at Eldell Mitchell Park. Awesome stuff. The bats were working right out of the gate. I think Carmichael hit a 3-run homer in the first inning, and they just jumped all over him. Kyson Witherspoon, who had the back spasms, has recovered nicely, and maybe changing that lineup for him, that starting time helped him out quite a bit because he was fantastic. Complete game, shutout, just two hitters, struck out six. His stuff was working. I listened to a bunch of the call with T Rowe. It was a great broadcast. It was a lot of fun. But OU baseball has at least won the series after two big time wins in game one and game two. They've got the final one today, but OU baseball back in a good spot right now after turning things around against Vanderbilt.
You called it, man. You
Hey,
nailed it. I doubted you. You told me. I thought you were a crazy person for making OU baseball your winner of the week on Wednesday's episode, but you could not have been more correct.
hey, man. When you see a trend, you've got to identify it, okay? And we've identified it. We need to keep Dallas Baptist on our short list to play an impromptu game every now and then if things are going bad for us.
Kyson Witherspoon,
It's dealing.
is it to the point where what are the eligibility rules in the Major League Baseball draft? Is it to the point where I'm like, because if this was a football player, or excuse me, if this was a basketball player, if this was a Jeremiah Fears situation, I'd go enjoy him while you can
Yeah,
because this is all you're getting to the guy. Is it
that's the case. Yes.
okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I was
He's
just
going to be gone.
yeah, he's gonna be gone. He
It
is.
sounds like he's going to be a top 10 pick.
He looks incredible. I've watched him, and you have inspired me. And I told Skip this the other day when I did the huddle with him at Rudy's. Like, you have inspired me to watch. I've watched more regular season OU baseball already this year than like the last couple of years combined.
It's
And
awesome. It's
one of the
fun.
big reasons is if Kyson Witherspoon is pitching, I am watching.
Yep.
The dude
And
is a beast.
I was we played a little league tournament in Jones, Oklahoma yesterday, and in between games I was listening to the broadcast and he was dealing, and which, by the way, if you haven't listened to Toby call a baseball game, it is awesome, which is no surprise. But Kendall Pettis has started coming in and doing some of the color with him, and it's fun to hear him talk about it because he's still got a good relationship with those guys. And but it sounds like Kyson was striking him out and laughing at him. His stuff was so good, and they were missing, and he was buckling knees and just smiling and laughing after striking guys out, which is awesome.
Yeah, they'll play the third game of that series today. And but does the third game really matter when you get beat that bad in the first two? I don't know. But
No, but I mean, it will help Oklahoma a whole bunch because, like I said, Vanderbilt was top. I think they were number 17, according. I mean, depending on what top 25 you go off of. I think that was D1 baseball top 25. But if you're able to get a series sweep over a top 25 team, it's going to help you in your postseason rankings with, how all that seeding and everything plays out.
who do you have as your loser of the weekend?
Florida? I mean, Florida has been one of the biggest trending teams. Shockingly, halfway through the season, whenever it looked like Napier was going to be fired, they came out in big support of him, stood behind him, and the main reason of that sounds like the future of Lagway and how he was really starting to come along on the back half of last season. And it sounds like he's been hampered pretty bad by a shoulder injury and really hasn't been able to do a whole heck of a lot this spring for Florida. And I guess maybe it's a big deal, but maybe it's not. I mean, a shoulder injury for a quarterback, big deal. I guess it's one of those where if you can get it sorted and everything ends up, he's 100% healthy. Well, maybe it's not a big deal, but this is starting to look like something that's been bothering him for a while, and there may be some real issues there.
It's never good when it kind of sounds like they're surprised that it has lingered from the season.
Yeah.
And I was reading some stuff. I guess he had some shoulder issues in high school. Also, so this is not new for DJ Lagway, but Billy Napier still has that job because of DJ Lagway.
Yeah.
So they need to do whatever they have to do to make sure he is right when when the season starts, or really when training camp. Because even though Ted, all you got to do is look at the guy, unbelievable physical tools. The guy looks like Donovan McNabb already. He is a stud physically.
Yeah. He's one of the guys that when he walks on the field and they toss him the ball and you're like, oh my God, that's the quarterback. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. He is a tremendous talent.
But the way that you get better as a quarterback is reps in the offseason with your wide receivers and your tight ends and your backs. Like, that's where you really get dialed in as a player, and that's how you learn the system. Everything becomes like second nature. It doesn't sound like he's thrown a single pass in spring.
Just crazy. I mean, if you go to a practice and you watch Mateer, he probably throws 250 legitimate passes a practice. Right. And I'm not talking standing on the side, keeping the arm warm, throwing to. I'm talking about in like drill work, teamwork, 7-on-7, all of that stuff, one-on-ones, throws a bunch of footballs. And like, you got to imagine if that's the case, 250 throws a practice over 15 practices, like in legitimate situations, you are falling behind the competition dramatically. And not that you can't make a lot of it up, like you can, but it's hard to get those reps back. And like when you look nationally, whenever, people are putting out, who are the top 10 quarterbacks coming into college football this season, he's in the top 3 in almost everyone's top 10. So if they're banking on him being that type of guy at Florida, and if he's not, you don't have to be a genius to go to their ESPN page and look up the 2025 schedule and say that they're going to be in trouble if they don't have him at quarterback. They may be in trouble if they do have him at quarterback.
He is arguably the most important player to his football team heading into the 2025 season. If that shoulder isn't right, man, that is a big problem. And not only is it a big problem for Florida, if DJ Lagway's shoulder's not right, that's a big problem for college football and college football fans.
You want your stars.
Need the stars. Need him to get right. But yeah, I saw Billy Napier said he'll start throwing in a couple of weeks. Their season ended forever ago, man.
That's wild.
Did he have some type of offseason procedure that just no one's really talked about? I don't know. Maybe he did. Maybe people
there may be a
about
bargain player out there on the in the transfer portal that you could get for way below market value.
Huh. Maybe just a little insurance for the quarterback position for the Gators.
Which is I'm clearly joking on that, but SEC's out of the running, right? Because they're in season, like you can transfer in the December window and play, but you cannot transfer in the spring window and play in the SEC, correct?
I would not want to challenge Greg Sankey on that.
I mean, you could do it and then go to court over it, but I don't think anyone's going to go that route.
That's a conference rule, not an NCAA rule.
Correct.
Do you really want to go to war with the SEC? I don't know. I don't
think you want to as a player, and I don't think you want to as a team.
That's my thing. Is I don't think any team wants to do that.
Right. I'm with
Especially when you look at the future. Now Florida's one thing, but if you're Mississippi State, Vandy, like you're not trying to rock the boat with the SEC at all.
Yeah. Send us a group of players that you're okay if we go after if you're Vandy.
All right, let's get to my winner and loser. My winner of the weekend. Give me the Oklahoma City Thunder. Ted, they destroyed the carcass of the Jazz on Friday night. Aaron Wiggins and Isaiah Joe just went off. Really fun to watch. And they play the Pelicans today. I'm assuming that's going to be another win. So the Thunder will finish with a 68-14 record.
Incredible.
Just an incredible regular season, man. And the NBA playoffs run through Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Home court advantage the entire way. This team has been excellent at the Paycom Center all season long. 35-6 at home this season. It's a big deal, man. You've got home court advantage the entire playoffs. Pretty fired up. Ted hung the Thunder flag up at the house today. It's kind of a thing. It's become a thing in the neighborhood over the years. Thunder flag, playoff flag is flying. Let's go.
Calling all bandwagon fans, alert, playoffs are about to start. It's time to jump aboard like you've been there all along, right?
I'm very excited. Now, they're going to finish the regular season with the best point differential ever in an NBA regular season. Pretty cool. And also, this is something I was thinking about. I think at this point, it's fair to say Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to win the MVP. He has been excellent. You go look at all the stats, leading the league in scoring. He's been a very good player on the defensive end of the floor as well. Like, that's what all the metrics will tell you. But it's between Shai and Jokic. And I just feel like there's one big reason Shai should win and Jokic should not. You shouldn't be able to win MVP if you get your coach fired.
Right.
You just shouldn't, right? That seems like a reasonable position to take. You can't win most valuable player if the guy coaching your team lost his job. It just seems like it should, if two people are having a tough, if a person that is a voter is having a tough time deciding between the two guys, it feels like that should be the difference maker. Hey, one guy's coach still has his job, the other does not.
Right. No, that's a big factor. And, semi-related, in the Lakers game, I saw like the second Lakers game. So we're going back a little bit, but I saw someone put out the stat, like, because the feeling out there is that, well, the Thunder, they get all this referee help and all they do is get to the foul line. Dead last in free throw differential in the NBA, and shockingly, the Lakers are first.
This is my shocked face. It'd be interesting. Thunder will not know who they will play in the first round until Friday night. So I'm kind of assuming game one of their opening round series is going to be Easter Sunday, because it doesn't feel like the NBA would. I don't know. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll say, hey, this is your punishment for being in the last play-in game. You have to play a back-to-back.
Right.
Game one in Oklahoma City Saturday night, fellas. Good luck.
Right.
But we'll see. It feels like game one is going to be Easter Sunday.
Cool. I can't wait. I'm excited for them to get rolling, and it's been an incredible season. You feel like a championship is definitely within grasp this year, but the future looks incredibly bright. It feels like the championship window is just now opening. In no way does it feel like this is like a final opportunity to go get it done, but it would be awesome if they were able to pull it off right now. And like I said, the future looks like they're going to be maybe the team to beat for quite some time until the league responds as they typically do to really good teams and the deck gets reshuffled, and you'll see who can, make another run at trying to be the best team in the NBA. But they're in a really good spot right now, and it's fun.
Lock in, Thunder fans.
Yep. Hoist the flags.
Hoist the flags. All right, for my loser of the weekend, thought about going with Alabama softball. They thought they had the Sooners.
Thought they had it.
Maya Bland said, see ya. What, dude? Pinch hit, clutch, dinger. That was awesome.
That was awesome. What
Well,
they
they end
score
up winning
five in the
5-1.
yeah, something like that. They nice comeback, and that was cool stuff.
Fun moment. I think we need to say something about the Kyron Lacey situation, dude. May you rest in peace. That I haven't really seen. It seems like they're still trying to figure out what happened. But if you didn't see it, Kyron Lacey, who was a wide receiver that played against OU for LSU last season, was found dead in Houston. It says the cause of death was not immediately known. I've seen some things that assume that he took his own life, man, but just awful. I I don't know what else to say other than that, Ted.
No,
That's brutal.
it's an incredibly sad chain of events. Um, Declared for the NFL draft and was thought of as like a first round type of talent at wide receiver. Had a had a crash that ended up in with someone dying, and he had prison time. It looked like in his future. You go from going probably maybe in the first round as an NFL draft prospect to like that extreme to looking at going to prison and losing that dream. Just a horrible situation. If anything good comes from it, hopefully it's that players, I not just players, anyone can see that you have to make smart decisions. Just I hate it. I hate that a young man has to, you know, I don't know. It's just a horrible situation.
Praying for his family, praying for the LSU football family. Just awful, man. My loser of the weekend. Give me the Phoenix Suns. This team has the most expensive roster in the NBA. They've got Kevin Durant, one of the best players ever. Devin Booker, excellent player. Bradley Beal seems like a fun guy. He's not the player he used to be, right? A little too banged up too often. Now they play the Kings today. They're either going to finish 37-45 or 36-46. They're not even going to make the play in, man. Most expensive roster in the league, and they're not even in the play in. Not even in the top 10 of teams in the West. Ted, as we're recording this, they are 31 games back from the Thunder.
Wow.
Things have not gone well since Matt Ishbia bought that franchise.
No. Whew. Man, they went through a really bad stretch. I want to say, what was it, pre-COVID? And then like they weren't selling tickets, like things were really down. And then they made some moves, got really competitive, and then it fell back to being in a really bad spot rather quickly. And it's hard to get out of it whenever you've got that type of payroll. I mean, it can be really difficult to recover. We'll see what happens with them, man. It's they got a long road of recovery to get back to where they're in a good spot competitively and can maybe get young and get some young players and develop. Tough spot.
That team, I have never watched an NBA team with so much talent look so miserable on the court together. When they played in Oklahoma City, it was almost borderline awkward. And that was the day. One of the days it was when it was before the trade deadline when things were floating around about Durant.
Yeah.
He didn't play. He ended up coming out, and we were sitting right by their bench. And he was he was in a bad mood. The energy was, I'm a vibes guy, Ted. The vibes could not have been worse for that team. It was borderline uncomfortable watching those guys interact and like listening to what they were saying to each other. I was just like, dang, these dudes are playing basketball for a living and they are miserable.
Yeah. That's chemistry is a heck of a thing. I mean, that's another awesome thing about the Thunder is like when you see the way that it legitimately looks like the team, they like one another. All right. Like
Yeah.
they enjoy playing together. Looks like the locker room is a fun environment, good place to be. And I'm sure there's, like every locker room, there's different dynamics going on, but I mean it's hard to win whenever your guys, coaches, front office, when everyone doesn't mesh together well.
And they really have no moves to make from what I can tell. I don't think at this point in Durant's career you're going to get some massive haul for him in a trade. I don't know. I would assume he's going to get dealt this summer, but it's not looking good in the desert.
Any move that they make looks like it's going to require writing of massive checks where you get no production out of it.
Their dysfunction is the only thing that is distracting people from what happened in Philly this year. Philly is 24 and 57. I mean, they play today, but they're 24 and 57, dude. Oof.
They got to get their star back right,
I don't know if he's ever going to be right. We'll see.
which is
I do miss Joel Embiid. He's fun to watch. He's
I
entertaining.
know it's that's a sad thing because he is an incredible talent.
Playoffs. Can't wait. Most excited I've ever been for an NBA playoff. Most excited. I cannot wait. Birthday shout outs. Happy 75th birthday to Santa John.
Yeah, and a sad one. Rest in peace to Cecil Compelleby. He was my first Little League football coach, my first linebacker coach. Unbelievable guy, unbelievable family. Justin Compelleby was a classmate of mine from, gosh, kindergarten all the way through high school. Great family, unbelievable man. Used to give me the signal from the sideline to blitz. Awesome coach. Super sad to see that he's passed, but prayers with his family and everyone in Fort Gibson. Lost an unbelievable man.
On that note, episode 518 in the books. We'll have a new podcast that'll drop on Wednesday. OU President Joe Harris will join us.
Yes.
We've been on a run of OU leadership.
Hey, look at us.
Just a reminder, please subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, check out our website, okbreakdown.com. Hope you all have a great start to your week. Until next time, we appreciate y'all for listening. Do what you always do, Oklahoma. Take care of each other.